Welcome back to De La Viega for the 2024 Santa Cruz Masters Cup Pro Weekend. This is our featured card for round one. I'm Keenan Dalton of Top World Disc Golf, here with Paavo Stubstad. Say what up, Paavo.
What's up, Keenan? Happy to be back. Excited to watch some more De La Disc Golf. Excited that we get to see some Masters Cup coverage this year.
Yeah, we got a great card. We got Chandler, Kramer, Miles Harding, Nate Perkins showing up on his scooter. And the fourth person on our card is Dustin Keegan.
There he is. Tell me a little bit about the format for Masters Cup this year, Keenan.
Yeah, so this year it's a little different. It's still a 3-day event, but the first day is De La Viega, mostly in the long positions, 24 holes total. Second day is going to be played at Pinot Lake, 20 holes, and then they're back at De La Viega for the final day with short pin placements for the remaining 24 holes. So starting off on hole 1, par 3, 315 feet, it's in the long position. You got to make the Mandos, you got to get it over the railroad ties, and that's the only way you're going to have a putt for birdie.
Classic De La starting hole here. Uphill, low ceiling, tall floor, very tricky.
And first on the box, the disc golf commentator, but he also throws the frisbees really well, Nate Perkins. And I think this is his Discmania DD3. He's going to be throwing that a lot today.
Nice forehand Annie line there. Gets above the top railroad tie. That's about all you can ask for on this hole is a long look. You're never really going to see anybody park this. Almost never.
And up next, Dustin Keegan. I think one of the first De La rounds I ever filmed in 2016, DK was on the card.
Oh, that's cool. That shot was so close to being good. Just barely clipped that last tree on the right side.
And Chandler with his Big Germ Tour Series Halo Champion Boss.
Really forcing that thing over just a little bit low, but that's a long look at birdie at least.
And lastly, Miles Harding, the Santa Cruz De La local.
Cool. I'm excited to see Miles out here. He's the only player on this card that I'm not familiar with. It'll be fun to see his game.
Yeah, he's kind of a local legend. Miles won the PDGA Am Worlds when he was only 15 or 16 years old back in the early 2000s.
Wow.
And looks like he's just going to start with a par to open his round.
Same for Dustin Keegan. Chandler with a long look at birdie here. Yep, had the height.
And Nate Perkins for bird. Oh, and Robert Burridge looking on.
There he is. Good bid from Nate. Par is not bad on this hole, though. That is how the majority of the field is starting their round here at De La Viega. This hole averaging 3.14 with only 5 birdies on the day.
3.14? Call it the pie hole?
The pie hole. I think I already made that joke a few years ago when commentating Am Worlds with Grant Zellner, but hey, we'll make it again. It's a good joke.
So a couple of pars to start the round. On to hole 2 in the long position. 270 feet, par 3. Plays a lot longer because of this very steep uphill off the tee. And then you have this kind of dog leg left where you have to get it around this tree on the right side of your screen. And you want to gently land right about here to give yourself a putt. You don't want to go too far past the basket because it drops off real fast.
So the ideal drive gives you a circle's edge death putt. Perfect. Classic De La.
And
Looked like a good forehand Annie line from Nate there.
yeah, it was actually an ace run. He's just gone right past the basket onto that downslope that was at the end of the drone flight. So he should have a birdie look.
I guess it depends on how far down that slope he went. We will find out. Chandler going for a very similar line. Oh, this looks good. Maybe a little too much power. Oh, good trees. In the circle.
Miles trying to throw that same line, but just doesn't get over on it enough. Just up, he's going to be pinned up against that acacia tree.
Trying to get a little forehand skip shot around the corner. A little too much power. Oh, good thing he hit that little bit of foliage down there. Stopped the roll away from being even worse.
Yeah, it's more like what you want.
All right, and here we see where Nate Perkins ended up.
Doesn't look like he has much of a putt by how he's gripping that forehand.
Yep, just trying to save the par. Miles misses his par putt. That'll be a bogey for him. Chandler, wide straddle. Gets the birdie.
Yeah, it's a bonus birdie.
Congratulations, sir. Definitely. That is one of only 7 birdies on the day on this 270-foot hole that averaged 3.32. Pars for Nate and Dustin, and a bogey for Miles.
And on to hole 3. One of my favorite holes on the course. You've probably seen it before if you watched any Masters Cup coverage. 354 feet. You got the cliffside on the very far right, but the preferred line is probably a mid-range, just straight at it, or a high sidearm.
Yeah, I feel like back in the day you used to see the up-the-gut mid-range shot more, and these days you see this high forehand line a lot more.
Yeah, and back in the day, a lot of those guys also liked the backhand roller.
Oh, yeah. So many trees around the basket and roots. Something's bound to stop it. But these days, more and more touring professionals have this, super high forehand hyzer. That being said, that one's turned over a bit much from Nate Perkins. Trying to fight back.
Yeah, a little wide.
Dustin's going to show us the classic approach. Straight shot down the middle. He pulls it a little right, but gets through, and he is in the circle right there. Look at that.
Miles throwing the sidearm line.
Too much turn. Oh, no. 2-metered.
Yeah, you hate to see that so early in the round.
Welcome to NorCal.
He's going to try and get up and down, save his bogey. Skips a little longer than he wants for that tester putt range.
Oop. That came out a bit early for Nate there. Yeah, he's not too happy with that. Oh, just a little high for Chandler. Shout out to his purple hair, by the way. I love it. I think last time I saw him, it was green. Fun to see him switching it up. What'll it be next? Miles does save his bogey there. Good putt. Do you know, Keenan, if he was able to get his disc out of the tree or if he has to go the rest of the round without it?
Yeah, he eventually somebody did retrieve it for him, but he's going to be without it for a couple holes. I don't know if he needs it for any of these next tee shots, but he'll get it back eventually. And that was an uncharacteristic miss from DK. Don't really see him miss those inside the circle birdie putts.
Yeah, I kind of wonder what he's doing over there right now.
Kind of got to get all those birdies when you have the opportunity out here at Daylaw.
Yep, not a lot of opportunities.
All right, moving on to hole 4 in the long position, 390 feet. This is a borderline par 4 because of the difficulty to get to the basket. I know that I think Paul McBeth bogeyed this when he scored the course record a couple years ago, so even the greats take a 4 on this every once in a while. I think the preferred line is a high backhand with a distance driver to get up over the trees and spike in, or a sidearm flex around the left side, or a forehand roller.
Yeah, this is definitely a tweener, Keenan, averaging 3.57. But there were a handful of birdies, so I do think it's, fair to call it a very tough par 3, not quite a par 4 in my book.
And there's the furthest drive I've probably ever seen on this hole. Chandler
That's
going
crazy.
about 120 feet long or so.
So a 500-foot flex forehand out of Chandler, basically, on this 390-foot hole going that deep. That's crazy, dude.
Yeah, Nate Perkins threw a similar line. He's out there in the field between 5 and 6. Not nearly as far as Chandler, but those guys are going to be playing a completely different hole than the rest of the field after their huge drives.
Oh, look at this. Forehand cut roller out of Miles. Come on, stand up.
Best of the group.
Oh, wow, look at that. What a drive. I love the forehand roller on this.
Yeah, pin high. He's going to have a putt for birdie.
With so many low ceilings, you'd almost rather risk it with the roots with a roller than an air shot in the trees. Miles playing the course like a true local.
Chandler backhanding.
Wow. It wasn't off the tee, though. I'll be impressed when I see one off the tee.
Scary upshot.
Uh-oh.
Daylawed.
Yep.
And then he just quickly pitches up. He's going to concede the bogey.
Yes, Miles. After 2 bogeys, he bounces back not only with a birdie, but a birdie on one of the hardest holes of the day. Like I said, averaged 3.57. Only 6 birdies on the day in total, and he was one of them. Well done, Miles.
That's a great one to get. And a good bounce back after the 2 bogeys, for sure. Nate going to tap in his bogey 4. And that'll do it for hole 4. Moving on to hole 5. This probably isn't a position you've seen before because it is a temp basket. So they've placed it 380 feet, par 3. The traditional basket would be on the right side of your screen near that dead tree, but for this temp basket you got to get around the oak tree, and here it is. It's probably a backhand turnover or a sidearm, a big sidearm, or maybe a backhand roller.
Yeah, interesting pin here, Keenan. I've never seen this one before.
And
Miles with a bit of a grip lock, I have to assume. That was way right.
yeah, put a lot of hyzer on that, but it's still flipped up. Must have been kind of an understable disc. Chandler's got all the power in the world to get there with his sidearm.
Throwing a nice forehand flex shot, and that puts him about 40, 50 feet short. Tough to reach this with the uphill, I'm sure.
Good shot from DK, just probably wanted a little bit more turn.
Oh, I love the idea from Nate Perkins. The hole does shape really well for a backhand roller. He just didn't quite force it over enough. When you're throwing backhand rollers uphill, or any rollers, I would imagine, you really got to force them over a lot more than you're used to throwing them on flat ground. because the uphill just slows him down so quickly.
Yeah, and here's where Miles landed. He's kind of lining up a putt, but it's got to be a high hyzer and kind of dunk in.
Ooh, good bid.
Dustin for birdie.
Nope. One more birdie chance here on our card. Oh, Chandler just a bit low also. An interesting note about the stats on this hole. Like I said, the previous hole averaged 3.57, more than half a stroke over par. This one only averaged 3.04, barely over par. But there were only 5 birdies on this hole for the day, whereas there were 6 on hole 4. So ton of pars on this one. Just not a lot of people birdieing it, but not a lot of people bogeying it either.
Yeah, it could be maybe a lack of preparation from some of these players. It's not a basket position that they had too much opportunity to get practice on, so maybe they just kind of assumed that it was going to be your standard hole 5, you know, in the long position over the oak trees, and kind of had a little surprise when they saw that temp basket out there.
Yeah, that's interesting that they decided to put a temp basket in for Masters Cup this year on that hole. Did they do that for any other holes?
No, that's the only temp basket on the course for this layout.
Weird.
So on to hole 6. If you watched the AM coverage, you saw it here already, and it'll be here for the final round as well. You got the OB road long, and then you have the water retention area marked by the rope and flags just short of the basket on the right. So those are both OB. So the play is the sidearm or the backhand. Just got to avoid those and get down there.
It's really just a shot about distance control. How close would you say that OB road is behind it, Keenan?
Oh, it's very close. Definitely in the circle, maybe 15, 20 feet behind the basket.
Yeah, and there's even a little bit of a drop-off as well, a little bit of a slope and hard pan. I mean, that makes it real difficult to control the distance on this one.
And DK almost hits the telephone pole and the wire.
Yeah, that's pretty far left.
Nate.
Perkins going for the forehand.
Looks like the perfect distance, just a little wide.
Yeah, he was probably anticipating a bit of a skip there and really didn't get it. Kind of an unfortunate reaction on the ground. Miles laying up, hopefully. Did that sit? It looked like it was rolling towards OB.
Yeah, just barely sat. Just either hit one of those roots or one of the wood posts and kept it in bounds. Chandler for birdie.
Nice. Right at the road. No fear. 2 down, bogey free through 6 holes. Good start.
Miles taps in his par. And Perkins with a par as well. All right, that'll do it for hole 6. Moving on to hole 7. It's in the long position, 393 feet, par 3. Got to miss these pine trees that are in the middle of the fairway. Get down past this low-hanging oak tree and give yourself a look at the birdie. And obviously you want to avoid this acacia forest on the left side, because once you get in there, it can be pretty difficult to get back out. This is a unique line.
Yeah, I think that's probably the preferred line if you're going for a forehand. Tough little tight gap there on the left, but probably easier to hit that gap than to try some crazy hyzer flip forehand down the right side.
Here's the traditional line.
Just didn't quite flip up as much as he was hoping, I'm guessing.
Yeah, and he got a kind of a nasty skip off of the hard pan. He's going to be in the acacia forest.
Nate trying for a flex, but that disc just holds the Anheuser line for pretty much the whole flight, and he's going to be short right.
No flex zone.
Yeesh. Bit of a little grip lock there for Miles on the upshot.
Yeah, kind of yanked it. Little pitch up from Nate. Probably a little shorter than he wanted.
Oh, DK hitting a branch, trying to pitch out there. That's going to be a long, scary putt. Sit.
Oh, no.
Yeah, you airball a putt from that, angle on this basket. That's almost what you expect. Classic day law, unfortunately for Dustin.
Dustin pitches up.
Ouch. So that's going to be a double for him, ending his streak of pars. Oh, that looked pretty solid. Good bid from Miles.
Yeah, just a little bit high and left in the chains, and it falls out.
Nate saves his par. I guess they're talking about Miles's line there for his putt.
Yeah, super tough putt from there to even get that close, so definitely a bummer that it didn't stick. And on to hole 8. If you've watched Masters Cup coverage or any day law coverage for that matter, you know this hole. 348 feet, dead straight. You got the OB road on the left, kind of guarded by those logs that line the left side of the fairway. And the play is just a backhand mid-range or putter, just whatever you can throw to keep it real straight.
Fun shot to throw.
Chandler is going to show us the sidearm line.
Wow, what a hyzer flip. Comes down a little short, but fun flight to watch. Great hyzer flip.
Looks good from Perkins, just needs to flex back. Oh.
Yeah, just held the ante line a little too much, but he might have some kind of a weird putt from in there. We'll see.
Kind of a
Miles.
yank.
Wow, punches through, though. Wonder if he even knew that from the tee pad.
Yeah, a little bit of day love.
Dustin, yeah, he'll have a long birdie look from over there. They were all hoping to do better on this one. This is actually not one of the harder holes at De La.
Yeah, for these pros, they're probably thinking birdie on this hole.
Wow, great putt, Chandler. How far do you think that was, Keenan? Edge of circle 2?
Yeah, I think it was possibly outside of circle 2. That was a huge putt.
DK got long putted.
Yeah, hard.
Chandler 3 down through 8. Great start still.
Yeah, definitely a great start. If you're under par after this stretch and you're kind of headed into the birdie alley of the course, you're putting together a solid score. And pars for the rest of the gang. All right, moving on to hole 9, also known as hole 8A for us day law locals. 215 feet, par 3. The basket is in the right position underneath these pine trees, and you got the cliffside or hillside on the right that drops off really fast, so you don't want to go down there.
Chandler with a great looking forehand, as long as it didn't roll down the hill, which I think it did not, so he's good.
Yeah, it looked like the perfect stability. Just came in so flat.
Nate Perkins, pretty much a carbon copy of that shot.
And Miles going around the other side of the tree, but still a great shot in the circle.
Yeah, if anything, you know, that play might be a little bit safer because you're gambling less with the potential rollaway of trying to park it and play with the steeper part of the hill.
And DK demonstrating the backhand line, just a little low, but he's got this for birdie.
Nice, right side.
Yeah, good stick.
Good birdie for Dustin. He's on the board now. Chandler right in the heart. Good putt.
Another one.
4 down through 9.
Looks like a star frame.
If there's any hole at De La you kind of expect to get a star frame, this is one of the few. Let's put it that way.
Yeah,
Nice birdies from our group.
good job, guys. All right, on to hole 10, 329 feet. You got your Mando on that tree on the left side there, just to keep you from going into the next hole's fairway. The basket is in the right position, one of my favorite greens on the course just because of all the sunlight coming through the trees. And the preferred line is probably a sidearm or a backhand that gets a little bit of turn. Chandler's going to demonstrate that sidearm line.
That's what Chandler does. Just a tiny bit wide, clips that oak tree. Oh, all things considered, good result for that shot, I think. He'll still have a long look at birdie. That disc did not want to sit down.
Nate, looks like this is more the line.
Oh, man. Ace run.
Almost.
Cool. Nice shot.
He seems real stoked about the ace run. He's like, oh, cool.
Sweet.
Sweet, man.
Miles kind of threw it similar to Chandler, just too wide.
Dustin showing us the backhand line. Looks like a little bit too much turn. I'm going to guess that comes up short right. Hits some of those trees over there. Yeah, Miles just laying up. What else are you going to do from that distance with the screen?
Chandler's putter's been working early. Let's see.
Wow, dude.
Perfect putt.
What a putt, Chandler. That's 2 huge putts in, what was the other one? Hole 8? So 2 huge putts in 3 holes.
Yeah.
Wow. Dustin hits the basket twice.
Here's where Nate's drive ended up after that ace run.
Great birdie. Miles and Dustin in for their pars.
And on to hole 11. You get the Mando on the left side tree there. This one's also in the long position. There's a couple different lines. You could throw the line the drone is flying, maybe a backhand up the gut or even a sidearm. And then there's also the high line, the high sidearm on the left side, but you got to have the power to get down there. This is a good birdie to get. You do have the OB road beyond the fallen tree there on the right side, so that can come into play. Chandler looks like he likes the high line.
Nate trying a similar line, a little lower, a little wider.
There we go.
Got through. Miles gets part of the way through. Those lines up there just look so fluky to me, but I've never played here, so maybe these players know something that I don't. I like this line from Dustin. That looks like more of a obvious line from the perspective of the tee pad.
Yeah, that looks great. He's just outside circle one. Chandler trying to save the par.
And he is going to.
Secure.
Great upshot. Yep, great upshot.
Nate not really giving this one a chance at birdie, just going to pitch up. Here's DK for birdie.
No. Oh, man, the drive was so good. I was rooting for you, Dustin.
Yeah, you can't see in this coverage, but right as he was about to go for that birdie putt, a car pulled up on the road, and instead of passing by, they just kind of stood, basically just idled their car in the road and were waiting for him to putt. And
oh, yeah.
really kind of distracted him.
There's also the movement of the players on that other tee pad that he was putting directly at. Different potentials for distraction, unfortunately.
Yeah, you hate to see that after such a great drive. But hopefully he can shake it off. Moving on to hole 12. Just a beautiful disc golf hole when it's in the long, just dead straight. It's basically the line to get there. There is a sidearm flex line if you really can get it to work left, and then the stability to really come back right will give you a birdie look. But
ooh, a little bit left out of Chandler, but he missed the first ones. But yeah, I got that bad kick to the right, unfortunately.
yeah, he kicked pretty far over there. There's the OB road, but it looked like he stopped short of it.
Wow, way too much turn out of that for Nate. I love that little jagged tree in the middle of the fairway. That's really what gives this hole a lot of character. It's kind of, in a sense, your classic dead straight disc golf shot, but that tree, you see that and instantly recognize this as De La Viega.
Absolutely. See if DK can demonstrate that backhand line.
He cannot. Too bad.
Not today. Oh no, now he's going to have to work for his par.
Yeah, this is a deceptively difficult hole. You'd think a 370 straight shot at the professional level, you would see a lot of birdies. But really, this hole averaged 3.43, almost half a stroke over par. And there were only a few birdies. I'm not positive that everyone has thrown their second shot yet, so I'll hold off on giving spoilers.
Yeah, looks like our feature card group's going to be kind of scrambling for the par.
Yeah, no one's getting birdies on this card, it's fair to say. So I'll let you guys know. This hole, surprisingly, only 2 birdies on the day. Shout out to Isaiah Morgan and Perry Walker for getting the only 2 birdies on hole 12.
Here's Perkins for par. Great putt from Dustin to save par.
Yes, sir. Good par save.
Maybe got a little bit of putting confidence back too after that circle 1 miss from the previous hole.
Chandler with the bogey. Miles saving the par. And Nate with the bogey.
Yep, and that wraps it up for part 1 of our featured card coverage, round 1 of the 2024 Santa Cruz Masters Cup Pro Weekend. Thank you for joining us here at Top World Disc Golf. Please like and subscribe, maybe leave a comment below. We appreciate your support, and we'll see you in part 2.
Come back and join us. I'm excited to see how the rest of the round goes. See if Chandler can keep the great round going.